Get ready, goddesses, because we're about to share the most haunted and cursed movie sets of all time with special guest Irene Walton. Woo!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Goddess Hangs.
Episode 97.
Woo! I'm Sadie.
And I'm Juliet.
And I'm Irene.
Obviously.
And we created the Goddess Hangs podcast to make the world of mindset, magic, and manifestation more relatable and fun.
Good job, Irene.
I feel like that was a newer edition of saying that in the beginning.
Nope.
Fake fan. All right.
Wow.
Noted.
Can't believe you haven't been keeping up with every single episode.
Sorry.
Irene.
I did listen to the Steffi episode and had nightmares for weeks. But like cool
that was
nightmares.
a spooky, that was a cool one.
But I felt cooler when I woke
If
up.
you had nightmares after that episode, just wait till after this episode.
Oh my gosh. If you're not watching, let's give you a visual of what's happening. So Sadie, describe what you're wearing today.
Today I have shown up to the pod as a fairy princess. I have my fairy wings on. I'm in all shiny holographic clothing and a purple wig and my crystal crown.
Just beautiful.
She looks beautiful. If you needed a reminder of that, she does.
And boots to die for.
Oh,
Got the rhinestone babies on.
Love it. Irene, what are you fashioning today?
Funny you should ask. I don't know if anybody's seen this costume of mine before. I am wearing the same skeleton onesie that I got probably about 7-8 years ago and have donned at least once every Halloween season since. Sadie, I know as a new friend, has already seen it about 4 times.
Yes.
So that just goes to show you how often I wear it. But I'm also on this black chair, so it looks like I'm a real skeleton if you're watching, and I've been enjoying that a lot. And Juliet, what do we have on? What are we donning?
Today I'm wearing this very cute, fun little bunny dress costume. It's baby blue, like Powerpuff Bubbles blue.
Matches her eyes very
Matches
perfectly.
my eyes. Thank you so much. Oh, the mic could not be farther from my mouth. And if you've ever played the game Dragon Quest,
Never heard of it.
Which I'm sure you all have.
or if you're, there's somebody in your life who does, I look like a bunny casino girl.
Perfect.
I love that.
Yeah, there it is.
love
So it's another Spooktober Ooh. Episode. We have a very fun, creepy, crawly topic today.
Yes.
Haunted and cursed movie sets.
Or should we say boovie sets? We shouldn't.
I was telling Irene before we started rolling that I started doing my, studying last night, but I was home alone and I got too scared and I had to stop.
Oh no.
They're scary.
Yeah.
They're not like, and it's not like, ooh, the lights turned on and off on set. It's like this car careened into another car and the star died. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Serious shit. It's scary.
Spooky.
So get excited.
So yeah, listen to this episode during the day
At
or
night,
Lights on.
or if
power
you're
outage,
thunderstorm.
alone.
Yeah. With somebody knocking on your door.
To make the most out of it. Walking down a dark alley.
Oh my, some of these
Don't walk down dark alleys.
No,
alone.
don't do it.
Don't do that. And don't get gas at
Disclaimer.
night. That's something my dad always told me. Don't do that.
Your dad was so smart. Never have I ever gotten gas at night without somebody approaching me.
Yep.
Never
That's
really
exactly
ever.
right.
Every time.
I feel like
Being
that's
a
never happened to
woman.
me.
Maybe
Do you
because
get
you're
gas at night?
taller.
Yeah, but I guess most of...
She's like, oh, it's because I carry that gun.
She's like, I grew up in Wisconsin, so.
But I do have a theory that, I get bothered somewhat less because I'm too big to kidnap. I wouldn't be a convenient choice.
I would be so convenient.
Yeah.
You would be convenient.
I'm just a small little bunny.
And I'm a 6'4" fairy.
I'm a tiny
kidding.
little bunny, and I'm 6'4".
And Irene is a little skeleton.
And I'm a tiny little skeleton who's too frail to pick up. I'm a scientific muddle. So I was so excited about this episode because I love doing this type of research, and and I was so pissed because Juliet picked the two that I wanted to do.
Sorry.
But it's okay because it forced me to look up other ones, and I found out that unfortunately there are a lot more cursed movie sets than you may think there are.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also thought I should say, if you don't know who Irene Walton is, let's give you like a proper introduction.
Hello. That
doesn't know who Irene is?
That was very bold of me to just be like, they all know. Let's start talking.
For the 1.2 people who are like, who's this? Irene and I go back many, many years. We were best friends from like day one of high school, day one of your high school.
Yeah, day one of my high
day one of
school.
my last year of high school.
Exactly right.
I saw her across the room. Actually, you were sobbing.
I was
when I first
sobbing
met you.
in the drama classroom, and aptly so. And Juliet and I just like immediately became friends and have been best friends ever since. She was like, has been with me through everything, good and bad.
Yeah.
And it's great. And then I got to meet this absolutely wonderful little fairy princess through Juliet.
Sadie
So
lady.
she just keeps bringing it. I got to keep her around.
Oh my gosh, Irene would come to my live shows when I was 17, and she
my
would
gosh.
do the sign language on the stage. She would perform with me. She would do the ASL. It was
You know
very,
sign language? Wow.
I used to be way more
Amazing.
fluent, but now I'm rusty.
it was very tender. And then as Irene has grown and evolved into let me start over. So as Irene has grown and evolved into the shining star you see today, you can watch her cooking show on YouTube called Dead Dad's Kitchen.
Hello.
You can watch her vlogs, and she has her very own podcast called Bites of History with Irene.
Oh yeah, that's another very cute thing about Juliet and I is every time I start a new venture or project, I'm like, Julia, I was wondering, and she's like, yeah, I'll write the jingle for you. And I'm like, okay, great. So if you guys do end up looking my stuff up, the cooking show, my YouTube channel, which also has the podcast on it, so Dead Dad's Kitchen or Bites of History, the incredible jingle and beginning music that you will hear in that is all Juliet.
Oh, stop. But anyways, if you like food history, Irene did like haunted restaurants this month.
Yeah, I've been enjoying those clips.
Oh,
They're fun.
thank you. So yeah, we did haunted restaurants. We did Alcatraz prison food. There was another spooky one, but now I can't remember. There's a death row meal episode. That's interesting. But
Fun
yeah,
month.
so it's a lot of fun.
So yeah, there you go. Now you know Irene.
Hello.
Now, do we want to do a catch up, or should we just dive right in? Because
I think we should dive in because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but both of mine had quite a lot to go over. So I feel like we've got a lot to
gosh.
cover. Because we each did pick 2 movie sets. So we've got 6 to dive into. Should we just go down the line and take a turn?
Yes.
Do like
Oh,
one
good
one
idea.
at a time though. And
like
then,
a writer's round in Nashville.
Yes. What should okay?
That's what I was gonna say.
So I heard that The Exorcist is like the most haunted of all time, and I know you did that one. I think we should save that one for last.
Yeah.
You got
So you
it.
want to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I'm fine
Sure.
with
Should I
that.
start? Okay.
And do 1, 2, 1, 2, and then Juliet just looks pretty.
Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. Okay. So the other. Okay, so I looked up Poltergeist and The Conjuring, and Poltergeist is also one of the top most haunted. So I'll save that one for later. So let's start with The Conjuring, which I've actually never seen these movies. It's a set of movies. I've always wanted to because the Conjuring movies are based on real life investigators, paranormal investigators,
demonologists, right?
Lorraine and Ed Warren. Yeah. So
Even their names are spooky.
Lorraine is a clairvoyant medium, and her husband, I think they're said to have done like 10,000 paranormal investigations. They have like collections of like evil and haunted objects. That's something that I read was in the movies. I find them so fascinating and so interesting, but I'm too scared to watch these movies.
I am also somebody who's too scared to watch horror movies, period, end of story.
Yeah.
Do you dabble in horror?
I don't.
Great. So we're obviously the people to talk about this.
Right. I'm like, I saw the Poltergeist when I was really little. That was completely traumatizing and probably why I'm turned off from all.
But I have seen both movies that I'm going to talk about. I did
okay.
see
Wow,
The Exorcist
okay.
in a very funny scenario. Anyway.
So yes, they've researched nearly 10,000 hauntings. This isn't the movie. This is real life. And they were working in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And so, they were on the grounds for the events that inspired the Amityville Horror. That's another movie that's inspired by the work they did. And then they reportedly exorcised 2 werewolf demons in 1983, which I thought was important to note because we were talking about werewolves last week.
Oh, yes.
And then this case that the first Conjuring movie is based on is the witch farmhouse. So there's a witch.
When did you guys open a farmhouse?
This is a scary witch. And so this is the Warrens were investigating this farmhouse where the Perrin family lived.
Sound familiar?
Paranormal.
So this is where The Conjuring begins. So that sets some context. So this is a movie based on real life hauntings, real life demons. So it's already you're like, okay, we're in trouble.
It's already giving I'm scared to watch this.
Right?
Knowing that happened.
It's like when it's based on something real life, that shit's gonna come around.
Well,
they're gonna be curious as to how you're portraying it,
And it's also when you're watching a scary movie when you're a kid and your parents are like, it's not real, don't be so scared. You can't say that.
Right.
It is real, bitch.
That's why I can't
Very
watch
real.
these ones that are real, It's too much. Okay, so let's see. Where do I want to start?
Is the Perrin family here?
It's just Robert the doll.
We respect Robert.
We respect you, Robert.
Okay, so a lot of interesting things happened. So let's see. Let's start with Joey King, who played Christine, who's a little girl in this movie. So this is, again, based on the Perrin family. I think there was 2 or 3 children in this. So one of the young actresses, she ended up being covered in bruises while filming the movie, but child actors are not allowed to do stunts. They have small adult stunt actors. We actually know someone.
We do.
That does that. So there was no reason for her to have any of these bruisings. They were unexplainable. And do you have
the reason that children are not allowed to do stunts or to work at night is because of another haunted movie set where some bad things happened to children, and so they had to change the laws.
Wow.
So it's funny that gets not funny. It's not funny.
Bites
Interesting
of history with Irene.
Interesting that gets brought up.
So these bruises, they just kind of showed up, but one interesting thing that I don't know if it's covered specifically in the movie, but that the Warrens, the couple that investigates, say is that bruising can be a sign of paranormal attacks where you have bruises show up on your body. They're trying to get at you.
Do they does it, I wonder if it hurts the same as a bruise? If it's just a fucking bruise and you wake up with it because a ghost punched you in the arm?
So this isn't the only mysterious bruising that happens, and I'm gonna circle back to that because I don't know about Joey's bruises, but the other actress that this happened to has something to say about that. Okay, so then there was also some just interesting spooky phenomena. There was huge curtain drapes at one end of a stage that many times were reportedly seen moving when there was no doors open, the air conditioning wasn't on, there was no reason, and these drapes would just be sort of moving as though there was a consistent breeze moving through them. And then there was the witching hour. So in the movie, the witch dies between the hours of 3 and 4 p.m. Spoiler alert, I guess. And this is considered the witching hour. This is famously a time when the veil is thin and the supernatural. 3 and 4 a.m. Yes. Did I say p.m.?
Yes, but it's okay.
Oh, sorry. 3 and 4 a.m. This is when the veil is...
3 and 4 p.m. is the napping hour.
Yeah, that's the napping hour. And the actress, Vera Farmiga, who played Lorraine Warren, she all throughout the filming was waking up between 3 and 4 a.m. and it really freaked her out. And she had a lot of... I think she just really got into the role because she had a lot of weird, foresight and just like interesting moments for her that she was maybe getting a little too into character and sort of picking up on some of Lorraine's like medium clairvoyant abilities. So she kept waking up during that time. And then also the same actress. So she had been sent the script to The Conjuring. She read it on her computer. She loved it. She closed her computer. And I think the next day she was going to get a call to talk to the writers and say, I love it. I'm interested. And when she opened her computer, there was 3 claw marks across.
Get the fuck out.
Across the computer screen.
No.
And it actually showed a picture of this. So it looked as though there was like a rip in her computer, but it was on the screen digitally, right? Like there was no physical gouge in the computer, but the how the computer lit up, it appeared that there was 3 claw marks.
And then she said, sure, let's continue.
She said, I'd love to.
I like it even more.
She said, I have some bills to pay.
She said they weren't there the night before when she read the screenplay on the computer, but they were there in the morning.
That's creepy.
Right? And then let's see. More physical injuries. So again, Vera, the same actress that was waking up at 3 to 4 a.m., had this happen on her computer. She also woke up, and this was at some point during the filming, with 3 claw mark bruises across her thigh.
No.
And she said, what's the call time again?
So they started on the screen and now they're on the body, but she noted they weren't painful. So she said they were just these bruises that showed up, but she didn't feel any sort of pain associated with them, but they really freaked her out.
Does it ever make you think, like, when we find bruises on our body that we don't know where they came from? Are you ever like,
oh, I didn't think about that.
I'm always bruised for no reason. Although, to
Watch
be fair,
out.
if there was a camera in my house, you'd see me like running down like everything.
No depth perception, hip on every corner.
Oh, that's interesting. They didn't hurt.
But very clear and visible. So then this was an interesting one. Hauntings back home. So one of the writers, his wife was experiencing things while he was away on set.
Okay.
So, and then they consulted Lorraine Warren, and she said, oh, this is actually common when the husband is away. Women are more susceptible because we tend to be more in tune with the spirit world. We're more intuitive, but that can also make us more susceptible to like psychic
fucking bruises and
paranormal
shit.
attacks. Yeah. So, in this case, the wife kept noticing a weird water formation that would appear on the floor out of nowhere. Like these puddles would just keep forming, and it was like in this one spot. And at first she was like, oh, it must be like they had this like elderly dog, but she was like, the dog's not peeing. How would the dog make it wet over here? And it kept happening. So she would clean it and try to figure out like where it was coming from, and there's just no explanation. So they consulted Lorraine Warren, and she deduced it was a water poltergeist, and water poltergeists are specifically known for feeding off teenage angst, and the couple was just dealing with a difficult time with their teenage boy at the time, and with just like the dad's connection to writing this story and then the angst at home, they think that like this just sort of opened them up to be vulnerable for this like water poltergeist to come in. So very interesting.
Oh my god. Poltergeists are terrifying.
Yeah. I respect you, poltergeist. Stay out of here.
God bless. Or not.
Stay out of here. So then this is really interesting too. So the real life Perrin family that the movie was based on, they came to see the set, and it was sort of just to see, you know, I mean, they're having a movie made about them. It was to see if they had any suggestions.
She's like, who's playing me?
And so this happened to this family when the children were very little, and this movie's being filmed now. Like the middle child, she's in her like 40s or 50s, so they're grown, right? It's been a very long time since they went through this.
She's building this up so much.
So they came to set, and the grown woman that was a child at the time of the haunting, that's like in her like late 40s, early 50s, she sees the actress in full makeup, that's the witch, and she ran away. She was so scared, and she said like it looked just like her, and she was so traumatized. And then shortly after seeing, so the witch is Bathsheba in this movie.
Wait,
shortly,
is that the actress name?
It's the name of the witch, like the demon of the witch.
I was like, okay, stage name we love.
So shortly after the encounter with the witch, this woman says, she like literally runs and like hides behind like a person and is like reverts to like childhood terror, right? And shortly after that, she says something really bad is going to happen today. And
the amount of goosebumps on my little bones.
who knew you could get goosebumps with no skin?
Oh.
So literally like shortly after this same day, the mother
Explodes.
the mother of the Perrin family, Carolyn Perrin, who did not make it to set, she's elderly, she falls and she breaks her hip. She's severely injured. She has to have like immediate surgery to like replace this hip, and they speculate that like this might be connected to like the witch's energy herself, because back in the real life haunting, this witch picked on the wife the most. The husband even reports to having like positive encounters with this witch. So but she was like the most evil, and she picked on the most with the wife, and then like the wife didn't come to the movie set, and the daughter sees this witch actress, freaks out, has this premonition, and then the wife is injured. It was just very, it's all speculation, but like very bizarre.
Just weird timing.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I'm like, this didn't happen yesterday.
And then, so they have their infamous artifact room. So they
There's
recreate.
never going to be something good that comes from that.
Right?
Don't have one of those.
I know, I'm
For any
like-
future filmmakers, don't have a spooky artifact room.
Well, this is based on the real life. The Warrens have an artifact room. Like, I don't know if it was in their home, but I'm like, you just have a room.
They're
full
like,
of
oh, this
haunted
is our
things?
super haunted room.
Right. I'm like,
Nothing's going to happen.
So,
Come on, Ed and Lorraine.
but they said it was lovingly recreated for this movie.
Okay.
It's a room where the paranormal investigators would keep all their spookiest souvenirs from all these investigations. And this is where there's like a Conjuring spin-off movie, Annabelle, which I also have not seen, but it's a doll. The doll is first seen in this artifact room in the Conjuring movie. But there's this wooden pig that is in the movie version, so it's all props, but there's this little wooden pig that keeps moving around in the prop room, and people are like, nobody's touching it. It just keeps moving into a different spot every time someone goes in there. Just kind of bizarre and weird. They would be there and they'd like put it back to where it was supposed to be, and then it would like be moved somewhere else when they came back. And then the final thing is just they had the set blessed by a priest before they did any shooting. They really worked closely with the Warrens. Ed Warren passed away in 2006, but Lorraine Warren, I'm not sure if she's still alive now. I think she is, but she was at least during the filming of these. So they worked closely with her, and I think she was like, we need to bless this place. So even with the movie sets being blessed, there was still so much of this activity and weird stuff happening. All these people that worked on the movie set said they would hear drilling and hammering underneath the stage where there was no one working. And then they said, construction ghosts, perhaps. Do we need to call the Scooby-Doo crew for this one? But they...
Someone is really proud of that one. They were like,
Grunge.com is where this article, most of my information came from.
oh, researching
So very
these,
interesting.
the articles that the way people, and they're like, and maybe that wasn't their last goodbye. They always end the article the same way. I'm sorry, you go.
That's it. They would hear things. The main actress that played Lorraine Warren was having just so many interesting things happen to her. And then the Perrin family was just so freaked out by that set. Like they didn't want to be there.
What to you is the spookiest of these types of encounters? Like, are you most scared by things moving? Are you most scared by sounds? Are you most scared by like these physical appearances? Like, what freaks you guys out the most when you hear about it?
I don't know. I mean, it's all terrifying. I think if I saw something freaky on my body, because then it's like it chose to touch me, as opposed to just like, oh, I'm hearing noises, like the space, like that feels less personal. But if it was on my person,
I think everything that was going on with Vera, like the combination of it all, like it might not be that something to sneeze at if you're waking up at the same time every day, but that in combination with her like having the claw marks on her computer and on her leg and just like all of it together, I'm just like, ooh, like she was definitely being focused on with this, and she was playing the woman that was most picked on by the haunting in the first place, right? So very,
the like
very interesting.
physical presence stuff, like on the computer or like on your body. It is so
like
scary.
being like chosen for it.
Ooh. All right, yay for story number 1. We're
That was
gonna
so
get
well researched.
on a scale of 1 to 10 spooky, scary skeletons.
Ooh,
That would
10
get
bones.
that would get 10 bones.
10 bones.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Well, I want to be abundant. Wait, is this okay? I want to be abundantly clear. This is not as well researched as yours. I'm more of a bullet point kind of gal.
Great, we love it.
I'm going to be talking. Hello, Mr. Cat.
Hi, mister.
Do you want to hang out?
Are you coming to survey the scene for spirits?
Oh, thank you.
He's coming to protect us.
Thank
No.
you.
He says, ladies, I heard you're talking about some scary stuff. You take a look around here.
Anything in there?
No.
All good.
Okay. All right. Back to
Keep
it.
going.
All right. I'm going to be talking about The Omen with Gregory Peck, the original The Omen.
What's the plot of The Omen?
That's a great question. Let's look it up together. Okay. The Omen.
That's another one. I haven't seen that one. I did see that on the list as one of the,
Here, I can
the
move this if you wanna
spookiest
come up, mister.
instances.
So, yeah. I saw it a couple times as well, and I was like, good, no one's picked this one. Okay. The Omen, which came out in 1976. So this is that old kind of haunting.
Oh, is there a newer one called The Omen? I thought
There
it was like a
is.
newer movie. Oh, okay.
This is
wow.
the
Okay.
old one that's like super scary skeletons.
Oh my gosh.
Haunted.
10 bones.
It's
10
10 bones to Gryffindor. American diplomat Robert Gregory Peck, who we stan, he's so hot, adopts Damien, Harvey Stevens, when his wife, Catherine, delivers a stillborn child. After Damien's first nanny hangs herself, Father Brennan warns Robert that Damien will kill Catherine's unborn child. Shortly thereafter, Brennan dies, and the priest, and Catherine miscarries when Damien pushes her off a balcony. As more people around Damien die, Robert investigates Damien's background and realizes his adopted son may be the Antichrist.
Oh, classic. A tale as old as time.
Exactly. Are we really playing this one out again?
The Antichrist.
We respect you.
We respect you,
We
Robert.
respect you, Robert. Oh,
So-
no, he really did come in to protect. That's
said-
Yeah, he
I
says
like
you ladies
talking
seem a
about
little
scary stuff.
scared.
I am. Thank you for noticing.
Thank you.
So, Gregory Peck and David Seltzer. David Seltzer is the writer. Gregory Peck is our star.
Okay.
When they were on their way to film in the United Kingdom, they flew separately. Mm-hmm. Both of their planes, independently, got struck by lightning on the way there. So we're off to a great start with The Omen.
Oh, wow.
On the first day of filming, quite a few things happened.
Quite a few things happened.
On the first day of filming, quite a few things happened.
On the first day of filming, several crew members survived a head-on collision.
Oh my God.
So it's the first day of filming. Crew members are on their way to set. Head-on collision, incredibly terrible car accident. Everybody's fine in this case. But it's obviously starting out weird. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like if you're on a movie set where this has already happened and you know what you're about to film the Antichrist, I'd be like, you know what? I'll just book a couple commercials. Like, I'm Gregory Peck.
Not hello, T-Mobile. Although was this the 70s?
1970s. Hello, T-Mobile.
Hello, Diners Club.
Shaving cream. Yeah. Rotary phone.
What was the phone company? Bell? Hello, Bell.
Oh, okay. Fucking coming in with the 70s phone knowledge. So the next thing that happens is it's the beginning of filming still. And I'm sure y'all know this, but when you have animals on set, they have to be very well trained animals. You can't just like bring Mr. Cat on and have him be the cat that's on set.
Right.
Animals have to be trained and like put through rigorous, fucking acting classes and shit. And on in the beginning of filming, the dogs that they had on set attacked their trainers, which had never happened before. Ooh, that's like a very, very, very uncommon thing to happen on sets, period. And these dogs had never attacked their trainers before. So that's happening. So that's where I'd be like, all right, strike number 2, that I'm going to leave this Antichrist set. Then, on one of the times, again, where Gregory Peck is flying in and out of the UK, for whatever reason, I just got chills, because I hate airplane stuff because I'm so scared of flying. Gregory Peck is like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to take this flight. I'm going to do a different flight. Mm-hmm. That flight, of course, crashes and everybody on it dies. So people that aren't even on the set or associated with the movie are now being affected.
Oh my gosh.
Insane. Then, this poor guy. Richard, I couldn't tell. I looked this up and I couldn't tell if these two things happened on the same day or if they just happened to the same person. Yeah. Like on different days. But Richard Dahmer, I'm sorry.
No.
That's a different episode.
Richard Donner, who is one of the directors of the movie, his hotel was attacked by a bomb. The bomb went off in his hotel, and he was hit by a car.
No!
Oh, what a bad day.
What a bad day. If those happened on the same day, cheese. And then the next thing that happened was, even after the set ended, after the set closed and the movie came out, the special effects producer, one of the special effects crew members, was driving with his assistant, and they got into a car crash, and the assistant was killed in the car crash as well. So this is, it's not as well researched, but there were plenty of things that happened on this set, and it just seemed like a place you didn't want to be.
Yeah.
Or didn't want to be even near. So those are some of the crazy things that happened on The Omen.
Oh my god.
10 bones.
10 bones. Oh my gosh, here are my
Wow, you guys crushed this. I'm so sorry, I'm choked.
You're doing amazing.
You're doing so good.
Okay, 10 bones. Okay, so yay! Okay, so I'm going to tell you the story of the things that happened on the set of The Wizard of Oz, which you don't think is like haunted or cursed, but it most certainly was.
Mama,
yeah.
It most certainly was. I also think it's just a real look into how there were no unions, no safety laws.
And no one cared about women.
No stunt, absolutely not. No stunt doubles, all these things. So the plot of The Wizard of Oz, if you're unfamiliar, is when a tornado rips through Kansas, Dorothy, played by Judy Garland, and her dog Toto are whisked away in their house to the magical land of Oz. They follow the yellow brick road toward the Emerald City to meet the wizard, and en route, they meet a scarecrow, a tin man, and a cowardly lion. The wizard asks the group to help him get the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West, etc. But this is this is a better description that I saw that somebody put in a newspaper once. Transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets and then teams up with 3 strangers to kill again.
And that's why it's haunted.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That's fucking hilarious.
So these are all in kind of a random order, but let me put it into an order that makes more sense. So I'm going to start with things that happened before filming even started. So this is the so sad. I'm sorry to laugh. The original Tin Man was poisoned by his makeup. They had
Yeah.
to replace the actor entirely.
Like so ill.
Yeah, so the original Tin Man was a man named Buddy Ebsen, and to achieve the silver metallic look, he was painted with pure aluminum. Pure,
Yeah.
which reminded me of like the story of the Radium Girls, how they would,
Yeah.
that's a story for another time.
Mama, that
So
when you guys
scary,
do that when
yeah.
I'm coming back.
Oh my gosh. Okay, look that up if you want to be very spooked.
Or wait until episode 123.
Next year. So, frequent lung ingestion of the aluminum sent Buddy to the hospital after waking up one night with severe cramping in his hands, arms, legs, and difficulty breathing. He had only been filming for 9 days when he was hospitalized. Had to spend 2 weeks in an oxygen tent due to the aluminum dust in his makeup. And instead of being sympathetic, the studio demanded he return to work. He said, I literally can't.
So did they know that it was the makeup and changed the makeup for the next actor?
They did. So they replaced him with an actor named Jack Haley, and they did use a different makeup. It was not pure aluminum, but it was still extremely toxic.
Pure mercury.
Because Jack Haley still suffered from a severe eye infection due to the products they used to paint him.
Wow.
So that was one thing that happened. The next thing that happened, which I didn't know this, so you know the scene where they're sleeping in the field of poppies and it begins to snow? Okay. They did not use bubbles or soap to create that snow. They used pure asbestos.
Yep. I heard that too.
Just sprinkled
Sprinkling
tons
asbestos.
and tons of asbestos onto these.
What is
actors.
asbestos again? Like, I know it's poisonous and harmful, but what is it like meant for?
Well, it was used for insulation in homes.
Yeah, it can keep, like, they'll put it in like walls and seal it. They don't do it anymore, but it's also a reason why there's some places where they won't. Like, you have to completely leave. Like, my house probably was insulated with asbestos. So if we wanted to change the because it was built in the 50s. So if you wanted to change the insulation, like, we'd have to be gone for a long time. From my understanding.
Asbestos. Let's just sprinkle some more asbestos.
Yeah, so they didn't know. They're like, oh, this looks like snow. They thought it was like, fleece or something.
Oh my gosh.
That was one horrible thing. So this is more cursed than haunted, but it is interesting. Okay, the next thing. Multiple people caught on fire while filming.
What's up?
Margaret Hamilton, the Wicked Witch of the West, had to film a scene where the witch disappears in a flash of smoke. Remember, they didn't test this. There were no stunt doubles. They said, you're the actor. Here's 45 cents. Just, light off a firecracker.
We're gonna throw out this fiery bomb at you, and then
you
you run
get
away.
The effects crew used real fire for the scene, and Margaret Hamilton was instructed to exit the stage via a trap door. But the trap door's drop got delayed, and the fire started before she had time to exit safely. She suffered severe burns on her face, hand, her eyelashes and eyebrows were completely burned off, and her skin was completely burned off of her hand. The movie studio did not send her home, and her friend had to pick her up. The next day, they said, when will you be back to work on the movie? It took her 6 weeks to recover, and even after returning to set, she had to wear green gloves instead of green makeup because the nerves in her hands were still exposed due to the burns. Her stunt double, Betty Danko, later caught on fire while filming a scene on the witch's broomstick.
Stop the fire.
The pipe generating smoke from the broomstick exploded while Betty Danko was on it, and she suffered severe burns and permanent scarring from the incident. Oops.
Don't use the fire anymore. It's so clear to me.
Hello, CGI? Had they not heard of CGI?
They not invented that yet.
Oh, the nerves in her hand were still exposed.
Oh.
And she said, yeah, see you at 8 a.m.
Yeah. They said, where are you, Margaret? And she said, excuse you. Okay. Moving on. The two actors playing the winged monkeys crashed to the ground when the wires that hoisted them up in the air broke. Just fell a great distance and hurt themselves.
That scene is terrifying. I hate the flying monkeys. Nightmares.
Yeah. This is just an odd fact. The lion's costume was made of real lion pelts and it weighed 90 pounds.
Oh my god.
90
Maybe that's why it's all
pounds.
cursed.
of a costume. Yeah, the lion, the ghost of the lion. Here's another thing. The set got very, very hot. So because the film was among the earliest to be shot in Technicolor, it required large sets with cameras hidden in different corners and elaborate lighting, which made the set extremely hot. So every light, like arc of light, everything that was not being used in Hollywood, they borrowed. And people were always fainting and being carried off the set because on average it was 100 degrees on that set.
Wow.
And when you're having to like look and move and dance and do all this stuff, like, oh my God.
And the people with
wearing
like
a
the
90-pound lion pelt
costume, the aluminum adjacent makeup, all those things. Okay. Then we have I'm sorry. This is about Toto. So one of the Wicked Witch of the West soldiers accidentally jumped on top of Toto and injured Toto. And Toto had to get a canine double. Toto, whose real name was Terry, did recover and return to the set a few weeks later. Toto made more money than the Munchkins.
Shut up.
Toto earned $125 a week, which in today's currency is $2,200. The Munchkins earned $50 a week. Terry acted in 16 films.
What is the dog doing with all that money?
Smart. That was the move back then. Get into animal entertainment, I suppose.
Yeah.
Wow.
The only person, and I guess Dorothy, Judy Garland made just a little bit more than Toto. She was the star of the film, but she was absolutely not the highest paid. Like all the men were paid much higher.
Wow.
Than her. Okay, there's a couple more things, if you can believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Okay, now this is sad. So Judy Garland, who was 16 during the time of this filming, never seemed to catch a break. So I just shared this. Despite being the star of the film, she reportedly made the second lowest salary of the cast, earning only higher than Toto. There was a story that the director slapped her. There were allegations, although not confirmed, that the Munchkins, because of just, being the height that they were at as little people, were like putting their hands up her dress, which is sad.
God.
Now, I'm sure it was just, one or two just naughty actors. Yeah. I don't think all of them were doing this. And this was the saddest part. So The Wizard of Oz is the reason why Judy Garland's lifelong drug addiction began.
I was wondering.
Because what they had at the time was something called pep pills. Take this pep pill.
Cocaine.
It'll amphetamines. It will control your appetite and you'll have so much energy. So if you look back at so many of these old movies, Singing in the Rain, like of this era, like the 30s and the 40s, like, wow, these people are so full of life. They were like hopped up and they were given these pills around the clock. Sometimes they would work for 72 hours straight and then they'd be given a barbiturate so they could sleep for 4 hours. And if you watch the Elvis movie, that's what happened with him too. Like they would give him these pills to keep him going and then they'd give him pills to help him sleep. And it was just this horrible, vicious cycle. So yeah, it was just a sad time for Dorothy. But, I don't know if this is haunted as much as it is just a big story of negligence.
You didn't say the craziest one.
What?
There's a scene you can see
like a house falls on a witch.
In the movie that someone hung themselves on set and they didn't catch it, and it's in the movie.
So I did see that was debunked.
Oh,
that's
really?
why I didn't say it. But we could look into that again because maybe it wasn't debunked.
Well, what was it debunked? I'm interested to hear the story.
They said it was like a bird figurine or something that people saw it wrong.
Because that one was
However,
I always heard about that one.
Yeah, and it was a munchkin that they believed had hung themselves. Yeah.
And is there any theories as to why it's cursed? Is there any speculation of...
Oh, interesting.
I didn't take any of that. I didn't find any of that. But what I did feel was that I felt like it was a lot of weird karma. The people in charge were just making really poor, greedy, careless decisions. And then it was like, well, what do you think's gonna happen? I don't know. Maybe the fact that there were witches in the movie, maybe magic. I don't know.
I always wondered, whenever I heard about this, I was always curious if it was like a foreshadowing of like, look, we're going from black and white era Hollywood to Technicolor era Hollywood, and like these are some of the things that are going to happen. Like, it's scary. This change is going to like fuck stuff up. But that was always my like spooky idea.
Right.
Wow, that was good.
We're going to give that one 7 bones.
Oh, yeah, good job.
Thank you.
I didn't know. I didn't know one of the things you said.
Asbestos?
The asbestos. I had no idea.
Isn't that unreal?
The shit these people did, I swear to God.
Are you guys ready for a scary one?
Yes.
Mama, what were the others?
Yes.
Poltergeist.
Ah!
Have you ever watched this movie?
No.
I've not seen it.
So
This is the one you saw when you were too young?
I saw this one when I was little. I couldn't watch it now. I know that. But I saw this when I was little somehow. I think the movie cover is a little girl sitting in front of a fuzzy TV screen. So I was like, oh, a little girl. I want to watch that. Great. I think we got it at a sleepover or something. I don't really remember.
I already have chills.
But basically, the movie, it's a Steven Spielberg movie. And it's a family living in a home, and a poltergeist is wreaking havoc, and it's just terrifying. It's all around. There's tons and tons of different scenes, and we're going to go through some of it. But basically, it's another family being haunted.
Oh, no.
Okay, so this is pretty sad. So there's a lot of deaths associated with this movie, and 2 of the youngest stars in the movie both died very young. So again, it's a family. There's a really little girl, and then there's like a teenage daughter that are in the movie, right? So the first instance of a death after this movie, I think this was after like the first one had been filmed, and it was going to be like the second one was coming up, or even the third one. There's quite a few of these movies, which every single I have instances from like the whole run of the Poltergeist movies, because it just keeps going, and it's like,
you think after episode 1, when 8 people have died, they'd be like, we can write something different.
Let's do a rom-com.
Hey, Steve, maybe we call it.
Let's get going on Jaws.
So Dominique Dunne, who portrayed Dana, the teenage or like preteen daughter in the original film, and trigger warning, this is relationship abuse, but she was strangled by her ex. So she like a very violent death. Mm-hmm. And so reportedly she was in this abusive relationship. He got really jealous about her, like rise to fame, people stopping and saying hello and I love you and whatever. And what's really spooky is that she had been reportedly running lines with another actor that was going to be in like the second one, and he was inside of the house, and she was fighting with her ex in the driveway, and he was playing the Poltergeist soundtrack and had turned up the music because he didn't want to hear them yelling at each other. And then the boyfriend like pulled her like out of street view and like killed her like on the side of the house out of sight. And then finally this friend, who was a shitty friend because he's not going out and intervening and helping this poor girl, finally is like, wait, doesn't see him anymore, goes and then calls the police, and the police are like, they go in on him. They're like, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, but just really weird that like the music, the soundtrack was like playing as this happened, like very, very spooky.
No.
And then the child star, so the young girl,
she's like a little blonde girl, right?
Little blonde girl. She's really the star of the movie. Like, she's the one that's first getting the instances of paranormal activity and stuff, from what I can remember. But very sadly, she died at the age of 12 from cardiac arrest after experiencing septic shock from a congenital bowel obstruction. So she was the first movie, she's suffering from this mysterious illness. And then around the time of the second or third movie, they realize it's Crohn's disease that she's suffering from. Oh. And then she passes away at the age of 12. And so sad. And so she had finished filming the third installment, but she passed away before it was released. So it was actually released after she had passed, which I can't imagine, like, as a family,
that
like,
decision being like, go ahead,
going out, and I mean, she'd put the work in and whatever. I don't know what my choice would be, but her being so young and like having to see like the marketing and the commercials for that, it was a very big franchise when it was like actively coming out. But Heather's mother, the little girl's mother, recalls that as they were in the hospital, and her daughter was going into cardiac arrest, the doctors were rushing to her room, and her mom was sitting outside of the room, and she said her daughter appeared in front of her and said, "I'm not coming back." And then she passed away. Really sad. And then it says, other cast members would later perish from natural causes. The expiration of the film's two young actresses caused many to speculate that their involvement with the movie had something to do with their untimely demises, because it's just strange to have two of the stars of the movie.
Who are both young women.
So young, right. And then there was a spooky accident that almost claimed another one of the child actors' lives.
Stop after Poltergeist 2.
Right?
Stop.
So this is before those two pass away. They're still alive because they're filming. But the actor Oliver Robbins, who portrayed the middle child, Robbie, there's a scene where there's this animatronic clown that's strangling him in the scene.
I've heard about this.
But the animatronic clown goes haywire, and it's like actually strangling him. And Steven Spielberg himself is like, whoa, something's wrong. And he dives in and intervenes and separates this animatronic clown from this child who is literally being strangled. Right? Like, so scary. So, and Steven Spielberg says it happened so fast. Like, they're filming, and then he's like, wait, like, the fear in this child's eyes is too real, and like has to like jump in.
I'll tell you what,
so
though.
Scary.
It'd be kind of cool to say Steven Spielberg.
You know what? There's always that's a story.
There's a silver lining right there.
That's a story.
That's terrifying. Is there anything scarier than, isn't that everybody's worst fear? An animatronic clown who's like, I'm actually alive now.
And yeah, he says the boy who played it, he says the way they shot the sequence, they didn't have special effects the way they do today. So the clown had his extended arm, and they had me act backwards in a tight confined space under the bed, so nobody could actually see him from the set. So Steven's the one that dove in because he's watching it being filmed, right? So that's why he was the one that dove in, because he's under a bed, he's in a confined space, like the people on set can't see the little boy.
That must have been so scary for everybody on set too, of just like, why is Steven Spielberg rushing under this bed? Like, how that must have just been terrifying, right? For they're like, everybody.
Whoa, what's going on?
Obviously more for the child, but still.
Okay, so here's another interesting one. So another actor, Richard Lawson, who, fun fact, is Beyonce's stepfather as of 2015. He acted in Poltergeist. He was in a plane crash in 1992, another plane thing, that claimed the lives of 27 of the 51 passengers on board, including the person who was in his original seat on the flight. Lawson said he was gifted a first-class seat after giving a fan his autograph, and the switcheroo saved his life. Spooky, right?
God, the fan got the autograph but died? Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
Don't switch your seat on a plane.
And if there's one thing to learn here,
just keep your first class seat.
There's so many things. Okay, so here's some instances of people who worked on set and this quote, curse coming home with them.
No, man.
Okay, so Jo Beth Williams, who played the mom in the movie, reported that she once stayed at a home where the bed seemed to be shaking, only to be later told by the homeowners that it was caused by ghosts. So the homeowners themselves were like, oh yeah, our house is haunted.
I tried to make a sex joke about the bed shaking. That's what I was looking at her for. I was like, oh yeah?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, sorry. You can cut that out.
No, we love it.
Wait,
I didn't see. So she was sleeping in a bed, and the homeowners were like, oh yeah, that's our ghost.
Isn't that illegal to not tell somebody who moves into your house that it's haunted?
Is it in the law books? I don't know.
It is now.
Yeah, you do have to.
You have to disclose it.
Wow.
Which is interesting because it's one of those things. It's like, can you prove it? No, but like, I'm not moving into a house if it maybe is haunted either.
Right.
But it's a better deal typically if you're.
Yeah.
looking
So
at the
figure it out.
numbers.
Figure out if it's a nice ghost.
Yeah, you're like, well. And then the same actress said that she would often come home finding her paintings and wall hangings askew. She would fix them and head off to set, and then every time she returned home, they would all be tilted again.
Ooh.
Mama, just hang up your paintings. Maybe you'll tilt it in the right place.
Yeah. And let's see. She said she wondered that if like there was someone trying to warn her not to do the film because this kept happening. And then James Caan, who wrote the film's promotional tie-in novel, experienced something abnormal while working in Steven Spielberg's office. As Caan wrote about thunder and lightning, a thunder crash and lightning occurred right outside the window. The lights flickered and the back of the air conditioning unit in the window burst off, and the unit flew in and hit Caan in the back.
Shut up. What?
And then after a few minutes, the lights flickered on again, and all of the video games on like the computers and TVs turned on and started playing themselves.
Leave them. Of course, stop writing the thing.
Right?
Of course, stop writing the thing.
So he's writing a novel, you know, so they can sell a book version of this as well. He's in the office. As he's writing about thunder and lightning, a thunder crash fucks up the air conditioning
And $1
unit.
million
Ends up on my desk.
Brooke Shields walks in and kisses me.
And
Oh my god! Like if you sang Thunder and Lightning right now, if there was Thunder and Lightning, I'd be like, I'm leaving.
yeah, we'd be like, oh, we're done here.
Of course, we're finished.
And then Dominique Dunn, who played the eldest daughter, once witnessed a bookshelf tip over and toss books around the room.
No, thank you.
Never reading again.
See.
I wasn't reading before.
Read.
That's the trick, is never have books.
Then there was director Gil Keenan. He was filming the 2015 remake. So this curse just goes on and on and on. They were like, let's remake it after all of this bad stuff has happened. And he
Such poor decision.
right? I'm just like, why would you ever? Anyways, he wrote that the house he rented for production was the site of some minor phenomena, lights flickering on and off for no reason, equipment malfunctions that they like couldn't figure out. And he said they were using aerial drones to film for the movie, but they couldn't get the GPS to work where they wanted it to, so they always had to start off. They had to like go offset and the drones and then bring them forward. Like they wouldn't work where they wanted to film, which was interesting. But you know, as soon as they took them like off that area, like they would work fine. So it really freaked him out.
Oh my fucking Jesus
My
Christ
upstairs
on
neighbors.
the fucking cross! I swear to God, I'm leaving.
My upstairs neighbors are just very loud. A new neighbor. And then this same guy said that the house
You're okay.
he rented during filming had a female spirit dressed in black. I became aware of her within the first few days of staying in the house, and only after I left did I receive a call from the previous owner who had moved back in, who was terrified by the goings on in the house and wanted to see if I had experienced any of it. So
Oh yeah, sorry. I actually brought a fucking ghost into
yeah,
your house.
he said he thinks this spirit followed him from the set back to where he was sleeping during filming, and then she just was like, oh, I like this house, and stayed there and didn't follow him back to Los Angeles. And so this poor owner comes back and it's like, what the fuck, there's a ghost in my house now.
Low-key go off ghost. She was like, this is nice.
This is cozy.
Honestly,
I think
I'm here.
I'm gonna hang out here now. Let's see. And then a few other set oddities. Poltergeist 2 star Will Sampson, who was a real life shaman and portrayed Taylor the Medicine Man in the sequel, performed an actual exorcism on the set of the film. He died a little over a year after the film's release from complications associated with a heart and lung transplant, but they did say that specifically they were filming this scene in a cave. It was really cramped, like the actors were just having a terrible time there. Weird stuff was happening. People were like feeling stuff. There's skeletons in this scene and stuff, and after he performed this exorcism, they felt it all go away. Yeah,
Well done.
so good job, Will
You got a
Sampson. Then during filming of Poltergeist 3, Zelda Rubinstein was an actress. She's famous for the "This house is clean" quotability. She clears the spirits out. I don't know if you know that. But she had a few premonitions. She had one premonition where she dreamt, these are both quite sad, but she dreamt one night that her dog had passed away. She woke up, got a call the next morning that her dog had passed away because she was like away from home on set. And then she had another premonition that her mom had passed away.
Stop.
And a picture had been taken of her, and there's this white orb around her head, and it was like when she was getting this premonition, and she thinks that it's like her mom surrounding her, which is very beautiful, but like very sad. But she was having these premonitions.
So wait, did the mom pass away?
She did. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So she believes that the picture was taken at like the exact moment her mom passed away.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah. Very sad. And then the final thing before I tell you why it was cursed, because it's very fucking obvious. Okay, so the production of part 3 was also an explosive one.
Oh, I see what they did there.
As a garage that was to be used for filming caught fire after plastic fake ice poured onto prop cars ignited flames and injured 3 crew members. A ball of fire chased everyone out of there.
Yeah.
So people could see these like balls of fire.
Like Mario Kart vibes.
Yeah. There was black smoke all over the place. This was all supposed to be done with the best of taste, but somehow it got away. That was a quote. So they did an investigation. They couldn't figure out how this happened. Like they weren't like, oh, this faulty wire, or like there was no evidence of like how it all went so wrong. So, you know, they were prepared. They were super prepared. They had their like safety crew on set. It was all set up correctly, and then everything went wrong. Very interesting. So why was it cursed, you asked? Because these fucking idiots used real skeletons to save money. It was cheaper to use real human remains than to buy prop skeletons. So in the first movie, there's a famous scene where the mom's, and this is very traumatic, I remember this one, she's in this mud and it's like moving around and there's these skeletons popping up all around her. She doesn't know, by the way, that these are real human remains. She thinks she's surrounded by prop skeletons.
They didn't even...
No. Later she finds out. This is Steven Spielberg's choice, by the way. It's just... how in God's name it is just so much less expensive to buy a bunch of real human full skeletons.
Go to Party City.
Yeah, get a makeup artist for it. Like, that's what I don't get either. Because I had heard this too, and so when you said that, like, it's so obvious this is why.
We know a bones dealer.
We know a bones dealer, and they're not cheap.
Yeah.
I have not purchased any bones.
No,
Yeah,
you're
when
fine.
she's thrown in the muddy pool, all those corpses that float to the surface that are freaking her out, those are real human remains. And there's other scenes too. There, I think in another one, the cave scene, there's skeletons in that one too, which is in like the third one. Also real human skeletons. Didn't learn from the first one. So
God.
yeah, this actress is swimming in a muddy pool with real
11 bones.
11
real bones.
Spooky. Yeah.
Good job, Sadie.
That one's obvious as to why it's cursed, you know?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
all those skeletons
May they rest in
peace.
peace.
May they rest in peace. We respect them.
We respect
them.
Okay, my next one is a unfortunately very well known haunted set, cursed set, scary set. And then I do have an honorable mention as well.
Oh,
Okay.
cute.
Or a dishonorable mention. No, we honor them. We honor them.
We honor them. We respect them.
I respect them. So, do you guys know about The Crow? The movie The Crow?
No.
I do not know.
Oh, wait, for real?
I really
No,
don't know.
I don't know.
Oh,
that movie.
interesting. Okay. We're going to look up the synopsis of The Crow.
Okay.
Because this is a very sad story as well. Okay, the night before his wedding, musician Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee, who is Bruce Lee's son. So, the night before his wedding, musician Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee, and his fiancée are brutally murdered by members of a violent inner city gang. On the anniversary of their death, Eric rises from the grave and assumes the gothic mantle of the Crow, a supernatural avenger. Oh my God, love that. Joins the Avengers. Tracking down the thugs responsible for the crimes and mercilessly murdering them, Eric eventually confronts the head gangster Top Dollar to complete his macabre mission. So, this is Bruce Lee's son. He's grown up, very handsome boy. So, the reason this set is best known is because obviously this is like kind of a superhero movie, There's guns, there's explosions, there's, fight scenes, all this stuff. Brandon Lee is taking place in a scene where there's a gun, and this is made in the 90s, and it's, prop guns are very, very, very meticulously checked all the time. There should never be real ammo. This was a time in cinema where they were still using it seems stupid now, but I'm sure this was the best bet at the time. They use a bullet is not all bullet. The bullet is just the tip little metal part of the bullet. The rest is the casing, and then there's powder in the casing that shoots the bullet out. So prop bullets are supposed to have a little explodey squib kind of thing on the end, no powder in it, and just the casing that explodes. This particular day, the SFX manager or the prop manager had gone home, and the prop gun was left to be checked by basically an intern who didn't know which bullets were the right bullets and which bullets were the wrong bullets, and et cetera, et cetera.
Why are there even wrong bullets available?
Exactly. And so very, very unfortunately, in one of the scenes where the Crow, Brandon Lee, is supposed to get shot, he's fatally wounded by being shot in the stomach with what was a real gun. And so somebody heartbreakingly, which we had another occurrence of this past year with Alec Baldwin. Heartbreakingly, this person fully by accident kills Brandon Lee on this set.
So how did they finish the movie?
They finished the movie because I think it was something like 75-80% of his scenes were done. So they used the rest with doubles and special effects because we're in the 90s, so they can do a little bit of CGI.
Oh my God.
Wow.
How old was he?
I think he was in his 20s.
No.
And that's not the only thing that happened. This movie is notorious to be called The Curse of the Crow, because there were so many accidents on set. The first day of shooting, a crew member was electrocuted and very, very burned by a faulty wire. There were trucks that would catch on fire inexplicably, just the same kind of thing with the Poltergeist, just no real reason. It was just on fire all of a sudden. A hurricane ran through the set and ransacked the set of The Crow. And there were a lot of crew member injuries, to spare the gory details, there were a lot of crew member injuries that weren't fatal, thank goodness, but they were still very bad and very scary. And of course, the loss of Brandon Lee, which is so sad. It's, somebody losing their life is always sad, but especially when it's these very avoidable occurrences.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad telling me this story when I was probably way too young to hear it, and just being told that this guy died because the prop didn't work. Oh, so sad.
Wow.
And then, so that was The Crow. And then my honorable mention is Rosemary's Baby. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
No, but I do know what it is about a little bit.
So yeah, so it's about like a woman who gets pregnant, and it's also like an Antichrist kind of vibe. And a lot of this is another sort of cursed movie set, but very notoriously and infamously, Roman Polanski, who is the director of this movie, who's a different story, but his fiance or girlfriend at the time was Sharon Tate, who was pregnant with Roman Polanski's baby. And during the filming of this, when Roman wasn't home, the Manson family, notoriously killed Sharon Tate and her baby.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Rosemary's Baby is also very cursed. May all of these people rest in peace.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
10 very sad bones.
10 broken bones.
Crying bones. That's so sad.
Did you watch what's it called? The Quentin Tarantino
Once Upon a
Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Oh, you'd like it.
I've
It's
been told
it's Sharon Tate. And Margot Robbie does an amazing job playing her, and it's it's an amazing movie. It's one of my favorites.
Okay, I'll watch that.
I won't spoil, but yeah.
But Sharon Tate dies.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we'll see.
All right. Oh, last scary movie.
last
and it's
one.
apparently
This
a
one's
very
the big
scary
one.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, I'm honored. Okay. So for the last spooky, scary skeleton
stories.
we're going to be talking about the haunting and cursed things that happened on 1973's The Exorcist set. And beyond. It extended beyond the set. So this is a fun fact. When The Exorcist was released, it was the highest grossing film of all time.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, it was a big, people were like, horror, let's get to the theater. So the plot is based loosely on actual events, which is like, ooh, spooky. Young Reagan, played by Linda Blair, starts acting odd, levitating, speaking in tongues, and her worried mother seeks medical help only to hit a dead end. A local priest, however, thinks the girl may be seized by the devil. The priest makes a request to perform an exorcism, and the church sends in an expert to help with the difficult job. I thought that was a very tame description of the plot.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, sure, let's go see it, and then be totally traumatized.
A girl's head turns around and she creepily crawls down the stairs. I saw this movie when I was 11 or 12 because my dad thought it would be a fun movie to play at night on a family vacation.
Greg.
And how did that go over?
My mom was very bothered by this choice because if you could imagine, I was sleeping on a pull-out couch in this condo. Everything made noise. I was up all night driving them crazy, and I couldn't sleep, and I was freaked out for the remainder of the trip.
Yeah, that's one of those times where you're like, yeah, we can watch Little Mermaid again.
Yeah, it could have. Yeah, I was just gonna say like maybe The Lion King. I was 11. Okay, so
Hey, Dad, keep that one for a you night.
yeah, that's a boys' night kind of thing. So let's go through this one because this one's pretty intense. So let's start with the fact that there were several injuries on set. So both the little girl Reagan, played by Linda Blair, and the mom, played by Ellen Burstyn, had severe long-term back injuries, spinal injuries, because of how things were handled on this set. So the mom had a spinal injury after being hoisted around on a harness. Because in this movie, they're like up in the air and things are happening. And the mom was really trying to tell the director and the people working on set, like, hey, I know you're trying to make this look really realistic, but like, you need to not hoist me so hard. Like, I'm going to get hurt. And they're like, yeah, whatever. So even though she tried to protest and her intuition was really strong and she knew something bad was going to happen, they still hoisted her and then did the thing where they just dropped her really hard to the floor. And that's the scene you see in the movie of her dropping to the floor. That's where she injured herself.
I hate when they oh gosh.
Yeah, again, no stunt people,
Right.
no foam mat, just dropped her on the floor.
Oh my God.
there was an odd murder that happened. So a man who was an actor in the film who played a nurse.
That's what I was talking about.
What?
I thought that this was in Poltergeist, but it was in this.
Okay.
Oh.
He killed a reporter before The Exorcist was released. He was quick to confess the crime, but he could not provide police a motive for why he did it. Just like randomly killed a random reporter out of nowhere after working on this set. Okay, this one was also weird. I'm building up to some bigger ones. So, first day of filming, one of the main actors, his brother died. Day one of filming. One of the technicians who worked on refrigerating the film set, because young Reagan's bedroom was made to be so cold that you could see the actor's breath.
Oh, interesting.
He also died during production. People kept dying. There were awful conditions on the set. So reports say that director Friedkin would keep the entire cast and crew on edge by occasionally firing guns into the air to startle people.
Don't do that.
And by playing very loud music on set between takes. Like, he just wanted everyone to be like irritated, on edge, in character, which I hate. Hate that.
They're actors. That's their job.
Okay. I will come back to the creepiest one, but let me do this one.
That's their job to make you believe things. They don't need gunshots, is what I meant.
Let's
They can go into character.
Yeah.
That's what they're trained to do.
So once this film made it into theaters, audiences reported having physical reactions to it. So much so that in the UK, ambulances would just wait outside the movie theaters because they just knew bad things would happen.
Chills. Shut up.
So people would faint all the time. People would vomit. People would have these like really intense reactions. One woman, because she fainted during the film, she hit the side of her face and broke her jaw. And then she sued Warner Brothers. I'm not sure what she got out of that, but it was just like...
Got a broken jaw?
And I think maybe a small settlement of some kind.
Oh my God.
One woman blamed a miscarriage on the film. Like, it just...
She's like so distressed.
Yes. It was said that anyone could be possessed by the film by just watching it, and that it gave evil a path to corrupt human souls. The film was protested in some cities and banned in parts of the United Kingdom. Also, this was odd. Groups waiting in line outside theaters sometimes broke out into violence. Like, out of nowhere, like, weird fist fights would break out waiting to, like, get into this film.
Oh.
But here's the creepiest thing.
Oh, gosh.
This is our grand
Are we all
finale.
ready? My skin hurts.
Yeah.
So
Maybe this
I'm
is
a
why.
goose. I'm a goose.
So early in production, there was a big fire that burned down the entire set. A bird had flown into the circuit box. Rest in peace, blind bird.
Oh.
And this incident caused a 6-week delay, and it was a real problem. But here's what's really creepy. The entire set, floor to ceiling, burned down, except for one room.
Shut up. Is it the scary, spooky, haunted objects room that's apparently on every set?
The only room that did not burn down was Reagan's bedroom, which is the little girl, the set of her bedroom where all of the demon activity took place. That room was untouched. And so they realized, we should maybe call in some help because this is bizarre. So they called in a Jesuit priest, Thomas M. King, after this fire, and he was called in to bless the set. But that was the creepiest thing that happened. People were injured. Weird things happened to audience members. Ambulances just waited because they knew they were going to be called.
Oh, God.
And the entire set burned down except for the bedroom where all of these strange occurrences took place. And that is the story of The Exorcist.
10 bones.
27 bones.
7 bones?
I said 27 bones.
I was like, oh, okay.
I have a theory
Okay.
and a question.
Okay.
Could her room not have burned down because it was refrigerated?
It was so cold. But yeah, because it was like insulated or something.
Oh my God. I mean, whatever. I mean, I'm sure like there have been fires in cold places. That's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the Poltergeist the one where she vomits? Or is the Exorcist the one where she vomits?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I don't really remember. I really tried to block that one out.
Smart.
Yeah.
But I remember. But I do remember vividly my mom being like, "Greg, what? Really? This is the movie that you brought on this trip?"
My dad,
He was like, I know what we're going to watch as a
like,
family.
it'll be
hilarious. We'll bond, and hopefully not get possessed after. My dad played or showed me a Clockwork Orange and The Shining, like probably 15 years before I should have seen them.
I've
And
never
they're terrifying.
seen Clockwork Orange, but I read the book and it's extremely violent. So I can imagine the
Extremely
movie,
violent movie too.
not a kid movie.
I just put something together. Okay, we went on this trip. We were staying in Oceanside in this condo. We were on the second floor.
Where's Oceanside?
It's like on the way to San Diego, but it's like a smaller town, I think. And so we're on the second floor, and we had watched, the first night we got there, we had watched The Exorcist. And
Oh no, what happened?
Damn it, Greg.
so anyways, the next day we were there, and it was like me, my mom, my dad, and my little baby sister who like
Oh, so she was born.
Yeah. She was little. She did not watch The Exorcist. She was in her little crib area in a closet because that's where my mom shoved her. But anyways,
She said one person will be
it's
safe.
dark and quiet in there. So, but the next day we were just like hanging out, eating sandwiches, whatever. Like maybe we went to the beach, came back, and the neighbors, we had to leave and go stay somewhere else because the downstairs neighbors were like, "You guys are so loud. You're making so much noise." Like, and we were like, "No, we're not. Like, it's a couple, a baby and like a preteen, and we weren't even home. Like, what are you talking?" They were like throwing a fit that we were like blaring music and so loud and stomping on the floor. And so we like went and stayed somewhere else. But now I feel validated because the night that we watched that movie, I kept hearing things.
You call them back, you're like, "Listen, I don't know if you remember me, but 20 years ago,
97.
You were wrong. It wasn't us.
it was ghosts."
It was Ghost.
Yeah, and we were like, "What?" It was like, we're not.
Oh,
what are you
that's-
talking. Oh, what's dropping?
My phone.
Anyways,
Wow, that's super spooky.
You know who I should reach out to? So my friend Sierra is a stunt actor, and she is the perfect person and the perfect size to play children.
Yeah,
and
she's
she
played
gets
a lot
work
of-
all the time. And she was the girl in the Ouija movie and another one, maybe Annabelle. I don't know. She like did all those movies, and I wonder
we
if
should see
anything
she's got any good
creepy
stories.
happened on
And
set.
she was in Hocus Pocus too.
She was, and she played a double in Hocus Pocus
Look at
too.
that. Wow.
And I replayed the scene to see if I could see her, but I couldn't.
No,
but I
you
knew
did
it
a
was
good
her.
job.
You did a good job. Oh, I saw an advertisement for Shacktober on the way here. You were right.
I told you would. They're doing this huge push for this event called Shacktober. If you live near Long Beach, maybe you'll go.
Hello.
It's I guess sponsored by Shaq. I don't think he will be there, but it's just like rides and a Ferris wheel and,
Shaq.
stuff
Shaq
against
really
the
gets his
backdrop of the
Hand
Queen
and
Mary.
everything. I love
Oh
it.
gosh, I love this spooky stuff, but I definitely want to have you guys like sage us before we leave today.
Yeah, we'll do a nice little smoke cleanse.
Oh, what do you think was the scariest thing you learned?
I think the Poltergeist set, learning about that. I honestly, because like I said last night, I was reading all the articles, so I was reading about The Exorcist a little bit, and like they had pictures of, the girl in the makeup and stuff, and I had laundry out back. It was dark, and I was home alone. I was like,
Oh gosh.
I can't go outside now. I'm too scared. But I don't know. The other one that I'm super scared of, do you guys remember The Ring? Did you watch that movie?
Yes. I watched that one like 4 times. It was like a big fun thing at the age of 13 to like be scared. I had a moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I watched it when I was 13. We rented it at a sleepover. We were too scared to watch it at night, so we all watched it the next morning
I love
together. And then my friend's mom she lived out in the country, so she like brought all the girls back in town and dropped us off at our houses, And my family was gone. I don't remember what they were doing. But I was so scared of my television after that. And I was home alone for like the rest of the day. I don't remember why, but I literally locked myself in the small bathroom near the front door that we had because I was so scared. And I had like nightmares for like weeks. To this day, if I see static on a TV, like that doesn't really happen on TVs anymore, but it always scared me so bad. But I read that one had some weird instances too, and notably the whole set flooded, and of course,
Well, like the well.
like she drowns, right? And it was just there was some weird stuff with that one too. And then I only it was a thing when we were 13. We were all watching so many scary movies.
And then The Grudge.
The Grudge. I never saw that. No.
Not to be like indie about it, but I never watched any of those. All of my friends would be like, we're going to watch this on Halloween night. I'd be like, great, I'll see you on November 1st.
I never saw The Grudge.
I could never with those scary
The Grudge
things.
wasn't very good. The Ring, I thought The Ring was like a very terrifying, like spooky plot. Somebody argued with me recently, like it wasn't even good. I'm like, no, it was actually like a haunting story.
So scary.
The last scary movie I saw, I think ever, was probably when I was 17 or 18, Cloverfield. Remember that movie?
I remember it.
It was like supposed to be like handheld cameras.
I couldn't watch it because it's found footage style and it's all shaky.
You get nauseous.
And it made me seasick. I made it through like 10 minutes of it and I was like,
Like,
I don't
outta
like
here.
found footage. I find it weird and boring.
It is kind of weird.
I probably
The
need to
Blair
give it
Witch
more
Project
time.
also apparently was a haunted thing.
Well, because it was the way that they advertised it was very confusing. I know they did this on purpose, but a lot of people went to the movie thinking it was like
real.
Yeah.
and so it really scared them.
Well, I read about that one too last night, that they like would set stuff up in the woods and send the actors towards it, but they didn't know what was going to happen. So
Oh,
they
that's
were
awful.
genuinely very scared.
That's awful.
So there's a essence of realness to it, but it's all set up, you know. I know my neighbor's being so loud. And then what was the other one? Oh, do you remember The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
I didn't see that. No.
Oh, I heard about this one.
That
when
one was
I
a big
researching.
one.
Yeah.
I never saw the movie, but I was at a party like in middle school, and it was at like my rich friend's house, and they had this like movie theater room, and everyone was piled in there watching this movie, and I was like in the kitchen with the mom because I didn't want to watch it.
Good for you.
And then I went in there for like one scene, and it's the scene where she wakes up at like exactly 3 a.m. and she experiences her first like possession moment or something, and then I dipped out. I was like, I walked into the scariest fucking part of the movie probably. I have no idea. But then for months after that, I woke up at 3 a.m. every night and would just be so scared.
no.
And it was awful.
cannot.
But I never watched that full movie.
Apparently, with that one of the things I read, granted, I've never seen the movie either, but the actress who was playing like Emily Rose, or the woman who was waking up every day at 3 a.m., apparently that actress started waking up every day at started waking up every day at 3 a.m. And she would wake up to the radio turning on, and it would be the Pearl Jam song, I'm Alive.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I cannot. What was the scariest thing you learned in our research today?
You know, honestly, all of it. We have to wrap up this episode.
do.
We have to wrap it up. It's hard to pick.
Because I gotta pee.
She's got to pee, and we're going to make some really fun content for Irene.
Yes, you guys.
Yes.
We are doing, apparently it's my new tradition to have the Goddess Hangs gals on for Halloween episodes of my channel. And we are going to be testing out the best Halloween candy.
Yay!
So you guys have to come check that out.
Excuse me.
Oh,
bless you.
That was a very cute sneeze.
It was
Bless
only
you.
usually I sneeze 15 times in a row, but I buried
That
it.
was a singular. And if you guys haven't seen, we did a Dead Dad's Kitchen last year where we made a bunch of spooky snacks.
cutest
It's
spooky
so
They were
cute.
very fun, and we had such a great time. So I can only imagine we're going to have another great time.
Yes, so go
Yes.
check it out. Well, thank you, Irene, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What's your social media handles?
You guys can find me everywhere at Homemade by Irene, like homemade cookies, but Homemade by Irene. And my YouTube channel is just Irene Walton. And you can listen to my podcast, Bites of History with Irene Walton. And thank you guys so much for having me. What are your social handles?
You can follow us at Goddess Hangs on all socials. I am Sadie Olson.
I'm at Juliet.Piper. Remember, in 2 days, we're hosting a free masterclass on manifestation and magic. The topic is how to get everything you want. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to share, for free. We're going to share manifestation secrets. We're going to share a really exciting offering with you that you have the choice to jump into or not, whatever, totally up to you. But you're going to love it. We're going to have so much fun, and we want to connect with more of you in real time. So the link will be in the show notes. It's absolutely free. We're going to have so much fun. You can join our Patreon. We're doing a big Halloween party at the end of the month. A spell to kind of, take advantage of this time when the veil is very thin and connect with our ancestors. You can order our holographic and regular oracle decks on our website, goddesshangs.com. I think that's everything I wanted to announce.
Yay! All right, everyone. We'll see you next week for the final installment of Spooky October.
No, there's 2 more.
There's 2 more?
There's 2 more.
There's 2 more. Never mind. I'm a week ahead of myself for the second to last
Of Spooky October.
Spooky October.
Happy Halloween. Bye.